The early 14th century witnessed a remarkable political transformation on the frontiers of Anatolia, where a small tribal domain evolved into an organized and expanding state. At the center of this transformation stood Osman the Furinder, whose leadership laid the foundations of what would become the Ottoman Empire. Through a combination of military success, pragmatic governance, and social cohesion, Osman reshaped a modest tribal territory into a growing political entity and left his successor a realm far stronger and wider than the one he had inherited. When Osman assumed leadership of his community, the territory under his control was limited in size and resources. It functioned largely as a frontier tribal principality, surrounded by rival groups and the declining authority of Byzantine power in the region. Survival depended on mobility, cooperation among clans, and the ability to respond quickly to external threats. From the beginning, Osman recognized that expansion required more than battlefield victories. He focused on uniting diverse warrior bands under a shared purpose. By fostering loyalty and emphasizing collective identity, he strengthened internal cohesion. This unity enabled coordinated campaigns that gradually extended control over neighboring lands. Military strategy played a central role in the transformation. Rather than pursuing reckless confrontations, Osman adopted calculated tactics that maximized limited resources. Targeting vulnerable frontier settlements and isolated fortifications, his forces expanded territory step by step. Each success added manpower, supplies, and strategic depth. Equally important was the integration of newly acquired populations. Osman pursued policies that encouraged cooperation rather than resistance. Local communities often retained elements of their existing social structures while accepting Ottoman authority. This pragmatic approach minimized disruption and facilitated administrative continuity. As territory expanded, the need for organized governance became increasingly apparent. Osman began developing administrative practices that moved beyond purely tribal customs. Trusted companions were appointed to oversee districts, manage resources, and maintain order. These early administrative arrangements formed the framework of a more structured state. Economic considerations also influenced the transition from tribe to state. Control over trade routes and agricultural areas strengthened the financial base of the emerging polity. Markets flourished in secured towns, generating revenue that supported military and civic functions. Stability encouraged settlement and long-term investment in infrastructure. The transformation required balancing tradition with innovation. Osman maintained the warrior ethos that energized expansion while gradually introducing systems that supported permanent governance. This balance helped prevent internal fragmentation and sustained momentum. Leadership style was another decisive factor. Osman's accessibility and reputation for fairness fostered trust among followers. Disputes were resolved through recognized authority rather than personal rivalry, reinforcing centralized control. Such mechanisms were essential in shifting from loosely organized tribal relations to institutional governance. Territorial growth brought strategic advantages. Expanded borders created buffer zones that protected the core region from sudden attack. Fortified positions secured communication lines and enabled coordinated defense. These measures contributed to long-term stability. By the time of Osman's final years, the transformation was clearly visible. What had begun as a small frontier domain had evolved into a recognized regional power. Settlements under Ottoman influence displayed signs of administrative organization and economic vitality. When leadership passed to Orhan Ghazi, he inherited a state equipped with stronger institutions and broader territorial reach than existed at the start of Osman's rule. The foundations of governance, military organization, and economic management were already in place. This inheritance allowed Orhan to focus on consolidation and further expansion rather than basic survival. The continuity of leadership ensured that policies initiated by Osman could mature and adapt. Institutional memory and experienced administrators supported the transition. Observers of the period noted that the emerging state demonstrated characteristics distinct from purely tribal structures. Authority extended beyond personal allegiance to encompass defined territories and administrative roles. Such developments marked a significant evolution in political organization. Historians later interpreted this period as a formative stage in state building. Osman's achievements illustrated how effective leadership could transform limited resources into sustainable power. Strategic planning and social integration proved as important as military strength. The expansion also had cultural implications. Interaction with diverse populations encouraged exchange of ideas and practices. Governance adapted to accommodate varying traditions while maintaining central authority. This flexibility enhanced resilience. Over time, the transformation from tribe to state generated a sense of shared destiny among inhabitants. Loyalty increasingly attached to institutions rather than solely to individual leaders. This shift strengthened cohesion and prepared the polity for continued growth. Economic expansion reinforced political change. Increased production and trade supported administrative complexity. Revenue funded defense and infrastructure, creating a cycle of development. Prosperity attracted settlers and skilled workers. The strategic environment favored adaptive leadership. Osman capitalized on opportunities created by regional instability while avoiding overextension. Gradual expansion ensured that new territories could be integrated effectively. As a result, the state he left behind represented more than an enlarged territory. It embodied a functioning system capable of sustaining authority across diverse regions. This institutional strength distinguished it from transient frontier powers. The legacy of this transformation extended far beyond a single generation. Foundations established during Osman's rule shaped subsequent development and influenced the character of the expanding polity. The emphasis on unity, pragmatic governance, and measured growth became enduring features. In retrospect, the evolution from a small tribal domain to an organized state stands as a pivotal achievement. It demonstrated how vision, discipline, and adaptability could convert fragile beginnings into durable structures. By the time Orhan assumed leadership, the groundwork for continued expansion was firmly established. The transformation underscored the importance of integrating military success with administrative innovation. Together, these elements created momentum that propelled the state forward. Osman's leadership thus marked the decisive bridge between tribal origins and institutional statehood, setting the stage for a trajectory that would shape regional history for centuries.